Let me introduce myself. My name is Harsha. So I have around 16 years of experience in terms of SAP. So my primary module is SAP PP, and I, as a secondary module, I am going to work on plant maintenance. Hello.
Yeah, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. As a secondary module, I take care of quality management and the plant maintenance as well. So I work as a solution architect for one of the big four. So that's about me. Um, Kiran, can you help me to understand about yourself?
Yeah, I'm totally a layman in SAP. I don't know anything about SAP.
Mm-hmm.
I'm into data warehousing for 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, Initially, I used to work on SAS VB.NET, and then
Mm-hmm.
I switched to data warehousing. So far, it all went fine. Yeah, I want to test the waters with SAP.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Right. So the expectation is like you want to learn the SAP plant maintenance module, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. All right. Fine. So good morning, Ashish. Can you please help me
Hey,
to understand yourself?
sure. So, Arsha, I'm looking. I'm working as a maintenance planner from last almost 4 or 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm using SAP platform as a end user from last 3 years. SAP HANA Fury mostly.
Okay.
Uh, I did have not not mediocre understanding of SAP, like what we can do with it. Plus, I
Mm.
have taken previously with the Sai only MM as well.
Okay.
So I use PM and MM like both a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking to explore more background jobs, what goes on the background side of the job, and some like advanced techniques or something that I am not familiar, or I don't have that job had the opportunity to look,
Okay.
and finally want to go to into consulting.
Okay. Fantastic. All right. Okay, let me share my screen. Today's session is more of an just an introduction, and wanted to give you guys about the topic that we are going to discuss from a SAP plant maintenance perspective, and how exactly we are going to carry out the training session. So I think we are going to deal mostly about those things. So I'm going to share my screen for a moment. If you guys have any question or if you guys have any queries, please stop me that I should be able to answer you guys. Can you be able to see my screen?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, good for me.
All right. Fine. So just to give you the overview, right? I think Ashish might be aware of SAP, but Kiran, I think considering you, I think I want to give you some sort of a background about the SAP. The SAP is basically a ERP tool, right? An ERP tool which is used to manage the organization related data. So there are multiple modules which are available. Basically, there are few core modules and there are few subsidiary modules which we call it. So from a core module perspective, I think we are going to deal with different departments, right? So starting with the sales, we have a module called as a sales and distribution, which is predominantly going to deal with the sales related stuff like quotation. Then you're going to deal with order creation, right? All this aspects will be taken care using the sales and distribution module. So which is more often uh, I would say it is leaning towards the financial aspects, right? So that is what we call it as a sales and distribution module. Likewise, you have a another module which is a SAP MM. I think Ashish already has gone through that particular process of a training. From a SAP material management perspective, I think it is mostly dealing with the uh, the material related stuff. Like it is going to deal with the procurement of a material, right? So it is going to deal with certain aspects of the inventory. Now the inventory is spinned off, and they're going to have a different module called as the EWM, which is extended warehouse management, which is predominantly part of the material management, I would say. But SAP has created it as a new module, and there are few consultants who are having the material management background. They are going to deal with the extended warehouse management. Likewise, we have a module called as a SAP production planning, right? So SAP production planning is mainly dealing with the manufacturing related stuff. Like it is going to deal with the day in day out production planning, day in day out the manufacturing process. You're going to have the routing, you're going to have the bill of material. So there are multiple stuff which is related to the manufacturing. Those aspects will be taken care in the SAP production planning. Likewise, you have multiple modules. I mean, if I try to focus on an supply chain perspective, right, the another important module is going to be the quality management, which is going to deal with the quality related stuff, right? So you may be having a incoming inspection, certain outgoing inspection. So all this inspection related stuff will be managed using the quality management. Now coming to the core aspect of this conversation, I think it is a plant maintenance. For any industry, if they are going to set up an organization, I think maintenance is going to be one of the key aspect. Without maintenance, you will not be able to do any sort of a organization stuff, right? It need not to be a what do you say, the machine maintenance. It can be a maintenance of certain asset within the organization, right? So you may be having a car which is given to you, the managers, company sponsored car, right? For that also you need to do a maintenance on a regular basis. So all these things are going to come under the plant maintenance. And not only that, I mean, if you have a solid manufacturing you know, facility in the organization, it is very much essential for you to have the plant maintenance, because you cannot do the maintenance of the machinery without having the supporting tool like an SAP plant maintenance module. So this is where we are going to have the conversation. So any question or any doubt, Ashish or Kiran? Hope you are able to understand what I mean to say.
Yeah, I'm following.
Yeah. So when we are talking about a SAP plant maintenance, right? So what is that we need to understand? Let us try to focus on that. So there are certain aspects, right? We call it as a key users, or we call it as a end users. So those people are majorly going to deal with the transaction data. Now, when I'm talking about a SAP, right? So what we are going to have is, let me just try to open a sheet. So when we are talking about any module for that particular conversation's sake, so we have something called as a configuration data, okay, and we have something called as a master data, and we have something called as a transaction data, right? So these are the three different pillar in any SAP module. For the conversation's sake, we have to have the person who is having a clear clarity about the transaction data is usually classified as a key user or end user. The person who has a thought about or a clear idea about the configuration data, master data, and transaction data is eventually tagged as a consultant, as a SAP consultant. So in our conversation, I think we are going to deal with all these three related stuff. So we need to understand what is configuration data, why do we need that, right? We need to also understand what is master data and why do we need that. Of course, transaction data is a day in day out activity what business is going to do, right? Now when I am talking about a configuration data, so as a SAP consultant, what we are going to do is we are going to talk to the business. We are going to ask them, what are the different processes that you have in your organization, and what is that you are expecting SAP to do for you, right? So this is what we call it as a requirement gathering, which we are going to have a conversation with the business before we start doing any sort of implementation. Now the business, let's say that business is going to say that we have a calibration process where we have certain test equipment. We want to do a regular maintenance for that to ensure that the test equipment is showing us a correct reading whenever we are going to do the testing of an particular job. Now this process is called as a calibration process. Now as a SAP consultant, we have to do certain configuration to enable this particular process. All right. So when I am trying to talk about a calibration process, it has a certain what you call SAP defined best practices. Right? So when I say SAP defined best practices, like SAP is going to suggest that if you want to do the calibration, you have to have certain, you know, maintenance plan in place. Once you have the maintenance plan in place, you have to do a regular scheduling of that maintenance plan. Whenever the duration is going to hit, automatically system is going to create you the maintenance order. So once the maintenance order is created, business is going to convert or release the maintenance order, and they are going to get the inspection lot. Using the inspection lot, you're going to do the calibration process, like you are going to check whether 10 kg is weight in the weighing machine as a 10 kg or it is going up or low. You're going to check. If it is going up or low, you are going to do a calibration for that, and you are going to ensure that the 10 kg weigh is going to show the reading as a 10 kg in the equipment in the weighing scale. So this sort of a activity will be done, and then you are going to do the confirmation, and you are going to do the closure of the maintenance order. So this is one of the best practice what SAP has suggested. Now, how do we configure this? So that's what we are going to do with the configuration data. Like you have to define certain process in the SAP, which we are going to focus on that. Likewise, you have to have certain master data. You need to create the maintenance plan, which is going to be categorized as a master data, right? So when you do the scheduling of your maintenance plan, you're going to get a maintenance order, which is going to be classified as a maintenance or vertical order. So we are going to understand about all this particular process. It's a very superficial discussion which I am trying to do at the moment, but these are the different things which we are going to discuss during our conversation. Is there any question, Ashish or Kiran? Hope you are following what I mean to say.
Yeah, yeah. Good. Go
So
ahead.
Ashish, yeah, thank you. Ashish, is
Yep.
that clear to you? Okay, fine. Now, from a training perspective, right? So, what is that we are going to learn from SAP plant maintenance? I think this is the what do you say, uh, course content what we have. So, in this course content, we are going to first we are going to understand about the SAP, right? How do we log into the SAP? What do you mean by server, right? And what do you mean by client? What is the meaning of a transport request? So certain fundamental things we are going to understand. Why do we need to understand? Because when I'm trying to give you the training, it is not only the process which I'm going to describe. I also need to ensure that you're going to understand the SAP jargons, right? Let's say that after doing a training, if you are placed in certain organization, if someone comes to you and if they talk about a golden client, right, you should not get puzzled during that time. So the initial conversation, what is required for you to get into the SAP job, so those aspects is going to be covered in the overview of SAP, where we are going to talk about the what do you say the different client, different server. What do you mean by SAP landscape? How does that landscape looks like? So certain technical stuff which is uh, optional for you to take into your consideration, but it is good to have those conversation and have the information around it. So that's what we are going to do it over here. And post to that, we are going to discuss about the. Just a second, give me a second. So from a plant maintenance organization structure, we are going to understand about what do you mean by maintenance plant, right? How the maintenance plant is created. So all these aspects, and what do you mean by storage location? So all this information we are going to look at in the SAP, and we'll try to understand about the plant maintenance organization structure, which is the basic fundamental requirement. Then there are certain master data and there are certain configuration related to the plant maintenance. So majorly it is going to be the work center. What do you mean by work center and why do we need that? We have something called as a functional location. What do you mean by functional location? And what is the meaning of the equipment and why are we going to call them as a technical object? And what is bill of material and what are the different other master data which are relevant for us to do the maintenance activity? Those aspects we are going to discuss in this particular point number 3. So once that is done, I think Ashish, I think you should be able to quickly understand what I mean to say from a business process perspective. What do you mean by breakdown maintenance, right? If there is a breakdown of a maintenance mission, how do we manage the maintenance process? We are going to talk about that those aspects. Like we are going to discuss about the corrective, preventive, calibration, refurbishment, shutdown, and condition based uh,
Mhm.
maintenance related activity. These are all the core what do you say maintenance process. So to understand this particular point number 4, right, I think we need to have a clarity about the point number 3, that is the chapter number 3. So we are going to understand the chapter number 3. I think this chapter number 3 is going to take me around 1 week to 10 days to cover. So once you have a clear clarity about the chapter number 3 that is related to the master data and all the other aspects, we are going to stitch them together to formulate a business process. So we'll try to understand about all these things. And once we understand the major business process of this particular plant maintenance activity, there are certain other aspects like what do you mean by notification? Why do we need the notification, right? How are you going to notify a manufacturing guy? How he is going to notify the plant maintenance person when there is a breakdown? So all this conversation is going to happen at a maintenance business process planning related conversation. We are also going to talk about deadline monitoring. Why do you need the permit, right? I mean, if there is a hard job which you are going to deal, you will need to get the permit approved by the manufacturing person before you take any machinery for the maintenance activity. So those aspects we are going to discuss, and post to that, like release of a notification, completion of a notification, and we are going to discuss about the refurbishment process. Refurbishment is one of the important topic nowadays. Even if you take the Amazon, right, I think you are going to get a refurbished phone. So there also they are going to use the plant maintenance. So they are going to get the old phone and they're going to do the refurbishment by changing the display, by changing the key. I mean, a certain buttons, right? They are going to do the refurbishment, and post refurbishment, they are going to do the resell of the product, which we call it as a refurbishment. So how the refurbishment is going to happen at a factory level or at a plant level? What is the purpose of doing this and how do we do this? So is going to be one of the very critical and very important topic from a plant maintenance perspective. So we are going to focus majorly on this particular aspect and we'll try to understand how exactly it is going to happen. Sorry. Post to that, an important from a manufacturer, sorry, from a maintenance manager perspective, right? Any maintenance manager is more interested towards the KPIs, more interested towards the reports. So we are going to understand what are the different reports that we have from a plant maintenance perspective, and we'll try to understand how exactly the report is going to give you the outcome. So report is, I think, Kiran, I think you, as you're working on a data warehouse, right? I think you will be able to easily understand, right? Basically, you're going to gather the information from the business and you're going to portray them as a report, right? So how are we going to stitch them together to formulate a KPI, right? So what are the different datas that we are going to use it to formulate the reports? Like you have a MTTR, mean time to repair, mean time between the breakdown. So all this reporting, how exactly we are going to do in SAP, I think we are going to understand from a PM report perspective. So once we complete the chapter number 8, the important as a consultant, I think the chapter number 9 is going to be very crucial for us. So we are going to understand what are the different configuration steps that we are going to use to enable the plant maintenance process, and how the plant maintenance is integrated with the different modules, right? How it is integrated with the production planning, how it is integrated with the FICO, that is finance and controlling, how it is interrelated to quality management and the material management, right? So these aspects we are going to discuss from a chapter number 9 perspective. And then as a bonus, we are going to discuss on the certain ABAP related skill, because as a consultant, you are not just going to work from a functional perspective. You also need to know about what is BAPI, what is BADI, right? How the developer is going to use that BADI to tweak the process. What do you mean by function module, right? FM. What do you mean by screen exit or a user exit? Why do we need those things? I think in a superficial way, we are going to understand about this particular topics. So this is the what do you call topics what we are going to cover from a plant maintenance perspective. And the important thing which I keep telling to the people, I mean, uh, training is my passion, and I'm not going to keep a count on the number of hours that I'm going to do the training. So I'm very flexible in terms of taking the training. And the important aspect is I want to ensure that you guys are going to get a clear clarity about the concept. Anybody can learn the plant maintenance by just getting into the YouTube and understand the process. That's not the focus. The focus here is to understand from a business perspective, because as a consultant, it's not only the configuration, we also need to give a consulting to the business, right? So once we understand the business process, how exactly in the industry it is going to happen, I think we will have a clear upper hand from consulting perspective, and we can give some good solution to the business. That's what I'm going to focus. So I really don't try to keep the count of number of hours that we are going to do. But from a Sai perspective, I mean, because he has certain uh, what I say uh, duration which he has defined. So as per him, we are supposed to complete, or as per the chapter's perspective, I think we are going to complete this particular activity in 45 days. That is in 1.5 months. I think we have to complete this particular activity. I'm going to take a pause. Any question or any doubt on the topic that I was trying to talk to you, Kiran or Ashish?
No, I appreciate that. Sounds very good. I just have one question. When you say we're going to learn this in business perspective, like, hmm, what do you exactly mean? Are you going to teach us the functional aspects of it, or mm, in that case, what is that you're going to touch? Are you going to touch manufacturing as a example, or which business domain are you going to take that as an example?
Business domain is going to remain the same. It is going to be the plant maintenance only. But the thing is, like, I'm not able to get my document. Just a second. Let me just try to see whether it has downloaded. Yeah. So, majorly, what we are going to do is like, this is the document which I'm going to give it to you guys. I mean, I have extensively prepared this particular document, how exactly it is going to happen. So, what we are going to do is we are going to take some live examples, right? I mean, when I try to say a breakdown maintenance, right? How exactly in the real time scenario the breakdown maintenance is going to happen? SAP is going to give you certain best practices, but as a layman, right? I want to take you to the what you call conversation related to the real-time environment. So in the real-time environment, like how the machine is going to get breakdown, right? And what exactly is going to happen during those breakdown, and how your productivity is going to get dipped, and how exactly you're going to have a conversation with the plant maintenance guy. So it is more of an interactive session rather than a theoretical presentation. I'm not going to do any sort of a presentation in a sense. I'm going to give you the document, but I'm not going to open the document. I'm not going to read the presentation what we have. So it is going to be a free flow conversation which we are going to have. So you are going to have certain question. I think we spontaneously will try to understand from a business perspective how exactly it is going to happen, and we are going to have a conversation related to that. You got my point, right, Kiran? What I meant to say.
Wonderful. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to get prepared from a SAP perspective, from a data perspective, but I will never ever mug up certain things, and I'm not going to put a presentation in front of you guys. I'm not going to do such kind of a training. I mean, I want to share my 16 years of experience, what I have gone through, and it is more of an conversation. It is more of an healthy debate which we are going to do. It's not going to be a one-way communication. Usually, it is going to be a two-way communication, which I expect. And most of the time, it is going to happen, and most of the time, it may not happen. But I'll try to keep as active as possible, you guys. So I want to take certain, real-time experience what you have, and we'll try to correlate that with the plant maintenance aspects. All right. So yeah, I mean, I had certain presentation. Like I'm going to share this presentation, but yeah, like what is master data and what do you mean by function specification? Sorry, function location. What do you mean by equipment master? How exactly the equipment master is going to help us? So all these conversations are there, but this is going to be predominantly done in the SAP rather than having a conversation around it. I'm going to share this document. You guys can go through that. Nothing harm, but from an interview perspective also, whatever the conversation we are going to do, I think it should help you to have a free flow conversation with a technical panel. They should not feel that you have mugged up and you are trying to give the answer, which I don't like it. So if you get a clear concept, I think you will be able to answer them in a more proactive way and in more free flow way. So that's what I focus. So that's all what I wanted to communicate in this conversation. I mean, it is more of an how structured or in what way we are going to do the conversation. So any question, Ashish or Kiran?
Mm. So, uh, I actually when if you can open the first PDF, like
Hmm.
where we have like the 10, no, not this one, the very first one that we went through.
The course content
The
you want
course
to say?
out, yeah, yeah.
Okay. It's I don't know what happened to this. Okay.
So let's go down a little bit. Sorry. So where we're discussing about the configuration data, like that particular aspect of the.
9.
Okay. Then how about the background job? So this is the configuration data, like but how about the technical data on like if we face any issue or something?
That is going to be covered over here, right? I mean, we have a deadline monitoring, which is going to be the background job, and the
Okay.
scheduling of the maintenance plan is going to be the background job, which we are going to take.
And is they also gonna do mass uploads to the system?
Mass upload in the sense in what aspect that you are
Like
asking?
if I wanna mass upload my data of any kind, like what do you call function location data from Excel to like or any other any platform to like SAP.
This is going to be covered in the above basic skills. You have a
Map.
BAPI and you have a baddie, you have a function module.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to specifically take any object, right? I mean, probably, Ashish, I think you may be experiencing certain what do you call process, or you may be having certain process described in your
Mm-hmm.
organization
Mm-hmm.
based on the business requirement. Now, I'm not going
Okay.
to take any specific industry related, problem, and we are not going to do. If you have those queries, you can ask me as a business requirement, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to discuss with you how exactly we have to mitigate that. Now, when you say
Okay.
that you need to upload the mass, when you say you need to upload the mass functions, what do you call location?
Yeah.
It's an problem with your organization, for one organization, right? When it comes to
No, I'm just I'm not saying function location particularly, but any data that if you wanna
no, I
like
understand your
yeah.
point. I understand your point. What I mean to say, when we are trying to talk about one particular aspect, right? I think it is
Mm-hmm.
related to a particular specific industry. Now,
Oh, okay.
from a training perspective, what we are going to focus is,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you to have a conversation in a more biased way. If I say
Okay.
biased way, what is going to happen today? You may be there in Accenture. Example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow you may go to a Deloitte, right? Day after tomorrow you may go to PwC.
Mm-hmm.
Now you are not trying to confine yourself for a particular industry, right? You want to have a generic knowledge. When you
Mm-hmm.
go to PwC, you should be able to adapt yourself, right? So that's what we are going to focus. Now, when we are talking about a data upload, right? So
Mm-hmm.
from a data upload perspective, it is basically called as a data migration.
Yeah.
In a data migration, you have multiple things, right? You have LSMW, right? You have a LTMC, and you have certain BAPI, BADI, which you're going to do to build a solution around it. Now,
No.
it's a very good question. You have to have this kind of an interaction while having the conversation. When you bring up certain question to me, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I can give my perspective for that, and we can have a healthy conversation related to that. You can say, no, Harsha, this is what the solution is built around
Mm-hmm.
from a industry perspective in my organization. So you are trying to say in this way. I mean, we can have a conversation related to that particular topic. But as a nutshell, we are going to discuss about more of a standardized process. We are going to discuss more of a standardized concept.
Okay.
So if you try to see a document, I was just trying to do for one of the person. Just a minute. I think his name was Sujoit. Open recent quality. Yeah, I was trying to do one of the training to one of the person. So this was the concept what I was trying to tell him. Okay, as an example.
Mm-hmm.
Now, now if you try to see here this Excel sheet, right? I think this is going to remain same for you also, for you and Kiran, right? We are going
Yeah.
to understand what do you mean by on-prem, right? What do you mean by cloud solution?
Mm-hmm.
And in that, what do you mean by AWS? What do you mean by Azure? And how this is going to have an impact, right? We are going to talk about the servers, development server, integration server, quality server. What do you mean by all these things? When someone is talking about a TR moment, what do you mean by TR moment? Why do we
Mm-hmm.
need that, right? Basically, we are going to do all our training on a sandbox. So what do you mean by sandbox? So these are all the basic concept which we are going to discuss during this conversation. If you come across certain questions, right, I think that is going to again branch out to a different conversation which may not be there on the course content, right?
Okay.
So uh, what I mean to say here is like course content is just an uh, uh, I would say a roadmap what we have in front of us. It is not mandatory for us to stick on that particular roadmap. It can get certain way diverted. Certain good topic can come into picture, which may be interesting for you both, and we can have a conversation related to that. So yeah. So this is
Okay.
how we are going to do the conversation usually. So
Yeah, that's it from my side then.
wonderful. So I think that's all what I had, Kiran and Ashish. I think you guys can talk to Sai and have a conversation around him and let me know. Uh, I think based on your what do you call conversation, I think we'll try to take it forward.
Sounds good. That's very helpful, Harsha. Thanks for your time. I just have one last comment. If you can help me, like you can just brief me. I'm into public sector so far, like around 12 years. Mm, I never come across any SAP, but I know that we do, like we are not into manufacturing. Like here, government doesn't own any manufacturing thing on our side. Um, so can I somehow fit plant maintenance in the public sector? Have you ever come across that in your
For ONGC,
past?
we have done the implementation.
Okay,
So we have done the implementation for uh, Himachal Pradesh Electricity Board, if I'm right. Right.
I
okay,
think
So
most of the cities, like city of Toronto,
yeah,
they have like so many like HVAC units. Just to give you an example, like AC units on the
right,
rooftop of their buildings. So
right.
that's a
right.
part of maintenance only.
Can you guess anything by at province level, by any chance?
At what level?
At like at a state level, at a province level, like Ontario,
Province also has like those assets as well. Like
like HVAC?
just that's a like very small
Okay,
example.
okay.
You
No,
can
no, no
have like
problem, no problem.
any machine like a province have like I think like its own vehicles.
Yep.
Oh, you
So
mean,
it
yeah,
is
Yeah.
maintenance is going to be everywhere, right? I mean, if you try to take your home itself, right, you have a maintenance. You have to do the maintenance for your AC. You need to do the maintenance for your water filter, right? You need to do the maintenance for your car, bike, everything, right? So maintenance is, I mean, this particular module is so unique, like it is going to be used in a real-time environment.
okay,
So uh, probably I may be taking an example of a compressor, or I may be taking an example of an lathe machine or something like that. Now that has to be replaced. I mean, when we are talking about a public sector, right? That has to be replaced with the asset that you have in your organization, right? So you may be having, let's say, as an example, you may be having certain fleet, right? You may be having certain car. You have to do a maintenance for that. That has to be replaced. The lathe machine has to be replaced with a car, right? And you may be having a refrigerator, example, right?
right, right,
So refrigerator has to be done, has to undergo certain maintenance activity. So anything for
oh,
that case, right? Even real estate also will come under maintenance aspects.
right.
You have to do certain electrical appliances, like you have to do a servicing of your fan, right? It has broken. Now you have to call the person to do the servicing for that. So how are you going to manage those things? So that will come under the real estate related activity. So
Sounds
it is
good.
left to your imaginary, world, like how exactly you can incorporate this kind of a solution in the real time environment. But one thing which we need to keep is like SAP is a supporting tool, right? It does not mean as a consultant we should recommend SAP, which is going to have a business impact. In certain organization, they are going to invest on SAP and they will say that we have a SAP and you implement the SAP plant maintenance for even for the smaller things. That's not the case, right? I mean, if you try to implement SAP for a smaller things, your
Hmm.
admin work is going to become more than the real maintenance activity, which is not good for the organization. So,
Okay,
so we need to have a clear clarity and we have to balance it out. Uh,
okay,
where exactly we have to utilize this and how exactly at what optimized level we have to utilize SAP. SAP is a supporting for the business. It cannot become a SAP should not become a business for the industry. So we need to have that clear clarity, and we have to deal with the things.
Perfect. Yeah. Sounds good.
Harsha, just one more thing. I actually never use asset. I think management. I think PM is one of the part, but do you can give us like more
I
about
can give
asset
you the
management?
I can give you the overview on the asset management, but asset
Hmm.
management is more utilized in the controlling area and in the finance area, right? So they are the custodians for these assets. So how are we going to
Mm.
utilize that? That we can discuss, but it's not going to be very extensive. I mean, I want to be very clear, crystal clear with my conversation. I should not give you the commitment that I'm going to take that topic.
No, no, no. I
Uh,
just want to understand because they are
I
like,
can give you the overview. I can give you
yes.
the overview, but I cannot get into that particular conversation because it has so many GL related stuff, right?
Yeah.
So you have you are going to use certain profit center, all other aspect which is related to the finance.
Hmm.
And let me be very honest, I don't have a clear hold on the financial aspects, right? Because I, being a supply chain management, I don't like finance as such from a technical perspective, which is not my cup of tea, and I don't know that. So I can give you the overview about the asset management related to the plant maintenance and how exactly it is going to help us. You got my point, right? What I mean to
Yeah.
say.
Uh,
All right. So I mean, we need to have a very crystal clear what do you call thought before we get into any of the engagement. And I think I was telling to Sai also the same thing. I am just a trainer. I'm not going to help you to get the job and all. I mean, many people will ask me, "Can you help us to get the job?" No, my job is only the training. I'm going to give you the very crystal clear information about the training process. That's it.
Yeah, good that you told me that, Harsha. That's my next question.
Yeah, I mean, let us be very honest, right? I mean, some people to get the what do you call, they want to secure the people and they want to do the training. Some people will be desperate to do the training. I'm not belonging to that category because I have a very good handful job with me. Training is my passion, and I love to give training to the people, which will help them to build their career. But I'm not going to give you any sort of a what do you call fake commitment saying that I'm going to place you in this organization, that organization. No, nothing doing in that way. I can help you to crack the interview. I can give you certain questionnaire related to that, which I can help. But I am not going to guarantee you that I'm going to help you to get the job. No, very clear.
I'm not expecting anything on that front. It would be very helpful if you give us insights of
No,
what a
that
daily job role looks like
well,
and
that is that
what
is
are
that
the
is my
challenges
role.
you face.
Now that is going to be one of my topic in the conversation. I am going to help
Perfect.
you how to react in the organization and how to work in the organization. The reason is, it sounds like a arrogance, but it is not arrogance because we need to have a clear expectation set at the beginning itself, right? You should not feel or you should not expect that like I'm going to help you to push you into the job. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to 100%, I'm going to give you the support in terms of how to manage yourself in a job when you land into a job. So that particular help I can do. So we have a very clear thin line difference between those things. So that's all from my side. I think if you guys have any question, you can ask me, or else I think we'll wind up the conversation.
I'm good.
yeah, I'm good too. I just wanna talk to Sai if he can hold.
Yeah, I'll connect. I'll connect Ashish. I'll connect in the call. I mean, WhatsApp call. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time. So I think looking forward to help you guys in terms of SAP plant maintenance. Have a good day.
Uh,
You too.
thanks for the
Thanks for your
insight.
time.
Yeah.
So, yep.